but this is Hey makeup friends, today I'm going to be sharing with you some items that are not empty but are still trash. Let's get into this. Before we get into the video, I want to welcome you back to the channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today we're going to be talking about some items that are just done in my books for a variety of reasons. Before we get to that though, let's quickly run down what I've got going on here. The earrings, I don't remember where I got them from, so sorry about that. The shirt I ordered off of a brand that was carried on Zulily, but on the face, on my eyes, I've got one of the Danessa Myricks Matte Color Fix Liquid Shadows in Primary Yellow. On my cheeks, I've got one of the new single blushes here from Benefit in the shade Butterfly. The highlighter that I'm wearing is from Kaleidos. This is wow, I can't read. This is Solar Sailor, which is this really beautiful yellowy gold highlight. And then on my lips, I have a lip gloss from Il Makiage. This is in the shade Bad Habit. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk about some items that I am saying goodbye to for a variety of reasons. I've also got two sort of honorable mentions that I'll stick in at the end. They're ones that I would bin, except that they're very expensive, so I'm not going to. So, where do we start? Okay, let's talk about these two items here because I went to apply this yellow mascara today only to find out that it is dry as the Sahara. So then I checked out the purple one and it has suffered the same fate. So these are both mascaras from Quo Beauty. Quo Beauty is a Canadian brand that you can find at Shoppers Drug Mart up here. And they happen to do colored mascaras very well. But the longevity on these is not here, so they do dry up fairly quickly. Well, you know what? To be fair, I've had them for over a year, so I should probably not be shocked that they're dried out, and I probably shouldn't be using them if they weren't dried out because eye infections. So anyways, if you're a Canadian, if you're in the market for a colorful mascara that actually does show up on your lashes, I have black lashes and these show up on them. Look at Shoppers Beauty, my goodness, look at Shoppers Drug Mart online on their beauty boutique. You can find more things than you can find in each individual store. They have these in a variety of colors. There's yellow, purple, there is blue, and I think they have a turquoise one as well. They're not overly expensive. I want to say they're in like the $10 or $11 range, but they've got a shelf life of maybe ideally about 4 to 6 months, definitely not 12. But at any rate, they're done. They're just not empty, so they're going in the garbage. Next up, I have two items from Milk Makeup. So one of them is their newest mascara. This is the Rise mascara, obviously just a little sample of it. I have put this to the test a couple of times. I am thoroughly underwhelmed. So first of all, there's the brush. It's just your standard typical bristle kind of brush, a little bit of a curve to the wand, but nothing overall too gimmicky or anything of that sort. It's fairly standard. I don't have a complaint about the brush. I just don't like this formula. I love the Kush mascara from Milk Makeup, so I had high expectations for this. No, it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't lengthen, it doesn't volumize, it doesn't even really lift my lashes at all. And then it just disappears over the course of the day. And it's not even that it's like flaking down and landing on my cheeks, it's just gone. I don't know where it goes, but it's gone. And by the end of the day, I mean by like the end of the workday. So we're talking after like 7-8 hours, not a 14-hour stretch. It just isn't worth it in my opinion. I cannot bring myself to finish this because I may as well just run a spoolie through my lashes and call it mascara because that's about the same level of effect that this has. Now, the other one from Milk Makeup, I have talked about on my channel before. I have tried to make this work. I have used a significant amount of this. I considered putting it into a project pan and then kind of figured, why would I do that to myself? Because I genuinely hate this product. And it is the Hydra Grip Eye Primer from Milk Makeup, as we've already established. This is not a good product. It's not the worst I've tried. That honor is held by NYX, but it's a pretty darned close second to being the worst. It just doesn't really do anything at all for me. It is like a clear kind of primer. It isn't sticky in any sort. Like, it's just kind of this slippery sort of feel. It almost feels like there's a lot of silicone in there, so it's not helping to like grip the pigment. I find that once I apply it, where the deepest creases of my eyelids are, I just have a hell of a time blending anything there. I can't get pigmentation to show up. I blame this because I don't have that same problem when I use, say, the Clean Canvas base from Gerard Cosmetics. I don't have any issues with that, or even the, oh, I can never remember who it is. This one here, the Fenty Beauty one. This is the Pro Filter. Have no issues with this one. This is also clear on the lids. The Clean Canvas base does have a little bit of pigmentation, which gives it the edge over the Fenty, in my opinion, simply because I do have quite a bit of discoloration on my lids. This one doesn't hide the discoloration. It makes blending questionable at best, and it really doesn't like boost the impact of the shadows at all. So it's just like, why would I use this? So when I had the brief thought of like, let's put it into a project pan and just finish it, I was like, I'm never going to use it. I'm going to have it in my project pan and it's never going to get used because I don't like using it. So let's just spare ourselves all that agony and just throw it out. Now, I do have a product here that I have enjoyed. I'm not interested in repurchasing it, but I've been holding on to it for a very long time. Not using it, but just holding on to it. And that is this concealer here from MAC. This is the 24-hour concealer. The reason I was holding on to it is because it's NC20, so I use it a lot when I'm doing comparisons of other concealers. I don't need to hold on to virtually an empty container of concealer just for that purpose. I don't need to. I can compare other things. It's not that MAC is like the be-all, end-all, you know, golden standard of shade matching. Most people know or have a good sense where they fall in their shade range, but I can't just hold on to this for the sake of, I just can't. I can't. I have so many, trust when I say, I have so many concealers. This is all nothing but concealer that I'm sure if I do a few comparisons, people can kind of figure it out. So I don't need to hold on to this any longer. I have another concealer that I'm going to be getting rid of, and it just doesn't work for me. It comes down to personal preference. It's from Nars. This is the, what is it called? The Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I have it in the shade Light 2.2 or Nougatine. I don't like potted concealers. That's basically what it boils down to. It's not that it's a bad concealer, but it's just, it's so stiff in the pot. Like, you can pick it up, but it's just not my preference. I find like I then have to like spend some time warming it up between my fingers, sort of like emulsify it, if you will, and then go in and apply. And it's really nothing so special that I don't reach for it, because using a doe foot applicator is just so much more convenient. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not the like hardest product to work with, but I just never choose to work with it. As you saw, I've got one or two other options, so I always reach for those. So why am I holding on to this? That's why it's in this video, and I'm getting rid of it. All right, I do have one more product before we move into the quote-unquote honorable mentions, and it's this skin tint here from Morphe, or Morphe 2. Is that like, did they come up with like a subsidiary brand? I don't know. I don't keep my finger on the pulse of all things Morphe at all, but I did want to give this one a try. I don't know why, I just did. This is the Hint Hint Skin Tint, and it is in the shade Hint of Pecan. I really wish that I hadn't like moved it around before I showed you just how separated it is, and I have not had this for that long. I want to say within about 6 months or so. I could be off on that, like time has lost all meaning to me, but I know it's less than a year and it's like wildly separated. It also just doesn't do anything special for me. It doesn't really wear well throughout the day. For being a skin tint, I find that it feels heavier on my skin, and so I just never reach for it. I have other options in my drawer that I will go for time and time again before I'll ever reach this. I just don't like this skin tint, and again, another product that I probably should have just returned then, but It's one of those like hope springs eternal things. I don't like returning makeup. I will do it, but I try not to. I like to just sort of dig in and commit to the product, except sometimes, as we're seeing in this video, I can only commit for so long, and if the product doesn't meet me at least halfway, it's going in the garbage. So now we're on to the dishonorable mentions, I suppose. These are products that I would just toss, but I'm really trying to make them work. In the case of one of them, it was just very expensive, and in the other, I've heard so many people rave about it that I feel like it's user error on my part. So let's get into that one first, and that is the Dior Backstage Powder No Powder. Oh my gosh, I finally said it. You have no idea how hard I struggled to say powder no powder. It's not that difficult. Anyways, it's a powder. My problem with it is that it is so hard panned, like just ridiculous. And I have such a hard time picking up any product on this. I have scratched the hell out of this with a spoolie. Hard pan. It's like it's hard panned pretty much all the way throughout. There are some little areas that you can see I've missed when I have scratched it up, and those are even more hard panned. I am not sure that you'll be able to pick up what I'm talking about in here, but I have such a difficult time using this. With most other pressed powders, as you're running the brush around in it, you can see that sort of like dust kick up. Not the case with this one. It just wants to stay in this pan. But I have heard so many people rave about this and talk about how much they love it that I feel like I'm like just doing it wrong, but I don't know how else to do it except put a brush in it and then try to stick it on my face. So if you have this product, have you experienced the same issue with it? Has it gone hard panned on you? If so, have you dealt with that? Have you had success dealing with it? Help a girl out, because I want to like it. It's very expensive, but I just don't. And I don't know if I just got a dud or if I'm the dud in this situation. Let me know your thoughts. And then we have a liquid blush from Armani called the A Blush, and this is in the shade 31. It's this really pretty orangey sort of coral shade, except you need about 75 freaking layers of it to be able to tell what color it is, because it just washes out so sheer. Like as soon as you start trying to blend it, it just becomes this like hint of a color. If you're extremely pale, you might love this because it'll show up on you no problem. But on my skin tone, which is not deep, I have to go in at least 3 layers in order to really build it up to have it show on my cheeks. It's just a very frustrating product to work with. I will say I would prefer to have less pigmentation than have like a super pigmented blush that you just can't blend away. Thinking of the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, those pack a punch, and so you have to do like a bit of a reverse learning curve than you do with this one. So I do find it easier to use something that has less pigmentation. The problem that I run into this, aside from just being frustrated though, is that it moves my foundation around, and that is not something that I experience very often. I see people talk about that in their reviews of products about how their foundation is moving around, and because I've never really experienced that, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. Enter the A blush from Armani, and I suspect I know what the A stands for because it is an asshole to make up underneath it. It just results in this like patchiness on my cheeks, so then I want to put even more of this on, and then it just messes up the makeup underneath even more, and it just, you know what, why am I holding on to this? It's so expensive. That's my problem, but I don't like it. No, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't have to wear foundation all the time. So on days when I'm looking for lighter, fresher makeup, can go away without the foundation, have to have the concealer. It's a must have. If that's my desert island thing, is concealer. So concealer, a little bit of bronzer, 700 layers of this on my cheeks, some mascara, good to go. That's what I'm holding on to it for. It is not an everyday blush. I mean, you spend more time fucking around with this blush than you do applying eyeshadow, honestly speaking. So I don't recommend, but that will be my plan for using it. I love the color of it. I truly do. I do not recommend. So there we have it. Those are items that I am just viewing as trash at this point. So what products do you have in your collection that just consistently piss you off? I would love to know down below. Why do they make you upset? And why are you holding on to them? As you see, I have some reasons for why I'm holding on to mine. Maybe not the best of reasons, but reasons nonetheless. So let me know your reasons. But with that, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.